So let's get some reaction to those developments. I'm joined now from Maputo by the Director of the Mozambique Centre for Democracy and Development, Professor Adriano Nuvunga. Professor, thank you so much for your time. Are you able to give us an idea of what this technical deployment to Mozambique might mean?
Good evening, and thank you very much. We think this technical deployment, it will mean military experts joining the military defense force at the ministerial level to help Mozambique in its attempt to have a full understanding of the dynamics of this conflict, but also help Mozambique take a proper needs assessment of what is needed to fight this violent extremism and see how the region can best contribute, with Mozambique, of course, in the leadership of the mission and taking into account the existing capacity in the region.
All right, so you expect it to be a military experts deployment. Is this likely to be the precursor to troops from the region assisting the Mozambique troops, or is that not yet clear?
I think it is too early to look at this mission from that perspective. But I was briefed that needs assessment is one of the key issues that the mission is to be looking at. Of course, considering Mozambique's initial reluctance to have the region participating, we can say that an important progress was made today, and SADC also is to be commended for pushing for this Troika summit, and also making it clear that there is a need for a regional involvement. But this technical deployment will, in a month, come up with a recommendation on how to go about. But of course, taking into account that Mozambique has been reluctant, and we think that the region will remain relevant as an important interlocutor, but at the moment I think it's premature to think of a military intervention.
Of course, there are great concerns in that region on a humanitarian level as well, because we know that many thousands of people have been displaced. There's also, of course, the critical issue of the Total gas field development, which now seems to be indefinitely on hold. Let's deal with the humanitarian mission first. Do you think that this is also going to require a regional response, that perhaps we need humanitarian organizations, which we know have been battling in the area, but do you think we need more input to look after the people who've been traumatized and displaced in that region?
No doubt. Cabo Delgado at the moment is Mozambique's biggest humanitarian crisis since independence. People are starving. There are still people in the forestries seeking support to be taken to safe areas, and this new wave, it adds to the already existing more than 500,000 IDPs that are around Pemba that were being displaced early December 2020. So at the humanitarian level, the region cannot be called to act most urgently, the most, because it is what is really needed the most. This is one, but there is also a need, as I've indicated, to start a dialogue. And as part of dialogue, Total, as the oil and gas giant in the area, it needs to be part of that conversation, because stability is important for LNG infrastructure to resume soon.
Yeah, and I would imagine that development and that investment in that project is absolutely critical to Mozambique's bottom line. One of the big things we hear about, though, is that part of the reason that this terrorist group may have gained a foothold is that the people in that area feel disenfranchised. They feel separated from any development that happens in the province. Do you think it's important as well that an effort is made to bring the communities in the area on board for any solutions, any economic solutions and development, so they feel part of progress, any progress that is made?
You are absolutely right. We have indicated time and time again that the ecosystem of governance in that region and in Mozambique in general has conducted for this to happen. There is an elite-based extractivism taking place without development, without participation. And if you look at how all that model has been evolving over the years, you will understand that that might not have triggered the conflict, but has created the conducive environment for greed by people to start to recruit easily amongst the youth. Therefore, while there is a military approach to stabilize the region, there is a great deal of need and urgency for humanitarian assistance and socioeconomic initiatives to address some of the key grievances which have led for that situation to be vulnerable for this kind of conflict to erupt.
Thank you so much for your time. Much appreciated. That was Professor Adriano Nuvunga from the Mozambique Centre for Democracy and Development, coming to us from Maputo.